My name is David Thurston. I have a family court case here in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. My case number is 201-501-753. I went back to court in 2023 to strengthen protections that were placed on my daughter in 2021. In 2021, after the protections were placed on my daughter, I filed a lawsuit against Child Protective Services for not doing their job. My lawsuit as of today, which is March 21st, 2025, my lawsuit is still pending. In 2023, we went to court, and we were only going to trial because our previous custody orders were not being followed in regards to the protections placed on my daughter. So my first hearing before the new judge, which is Judge Tara Toohill, she found me in contempt for following orders from two previous judges. So after that, I went to the Superior Court of Pennsylvania. The Superior Court dismissed my case. We continued to have numerous cases before this judge. I filed a contempt of court. It was denied. I filed a PFA for harassment. My daughter's mother and her family tried to frame me. They didn't know I was recording a video, and I got it all on video. They went and filed criminal complaints and tried to frame me, saying I came there as the aggressor, when I just kept apologizing and trying to get my daughter, and they would not release her. So every hearing I had before this judge, she just continues to deny anything that I ask, anything that I want, deny everything. She does not consider not one piece of evidence. All of my evidence, it's irrefutable evidence. Everything that the other party is saying, all the hearsay, it's all being accepted as truth. The following year, which was 2024 of March, the judge took away all of my rights temporarily and subjected my daughter to an unnecessary rape kit. The person that initially investigated the false allegations that the child was showing some type of sexual behaviors, they closed the case, and on day one of trial, they clearly stated that they did a physical examination, and they stated that 3 times on the record. On day two of trial, which was a few months later, March 12th, 2024, the judge took away all of my rights and said, to the court's knowledge, the child has not been physically examined. She subjected my daughter to another physical examination. She then, when I put in an emergency petition for relief, and I said, you made a mistake. She's already went through this. And she says, first she tries to blame it on mom and said, well, mom told us this and that. And mom's attorney was like, no, the lady actually came and testified. And, she said that the child has been, through a physical examination. And then the judge tries to differentiate the difference between a rape kit and a physical examination, as if it's two different things. She would not take accountability for her actions. Right after that hearing, I put in a motion to vacate her order, and also a motion to expedite her ruling so that I could get my daughter back in my care. On my daughter's birthday, May 6th, this judge, after not seeing my daughter from March, April, May, January, March, April, May. It was March 14th when she cut off all my contact. So March, April, May. May 6th, 3 months later, the judge made a final ruling. Well, not a final ruling. It's still a temporary order. And as long as it's temporary, it's not appealable. She made another temporary order saying, if I want to see my daughter, I have to pay. And, I could see her between 1 and 4 hours per week. And I have to pay $75 per hour to see my daughter. So I seen her that first visit. And the second stipulation was I have to go to a mental health evaluation, which they want $600 up front and then $140 each session. I also have to pay for mom's mental health evaluation, which is $600 up front, $140 each session. The facility that they're requiring me to go to is in the Poconos, some type of forensic counseling place in the Poconos, and that's an hour from where I live in Wilkes-Barre. After the first supervised visit, the supervisor cut off all contact. And, at first he was messaging me and saying, we'll go to the park this time. And, all this, false promises. and eventually just stopped texting me back, stopped returning my call, and, eventually just told me, like, he doesn't even know why the judge appointed him. He has a bunch of other programs he runs and a bunch of nonsense. So I went to the Superior Court thinking that, I have clear and convincing evidence that this judge has made numerous mistakes, and the mistakes, they're not even mistakes. Some of this stuff goes far beyond abuse of discretion and abuse of power. Some of this stuff is actual crimes, and I have the evidence for it. The Superior Court, I figured since I made it past the first stage and I was, given the right to come and argue before a panel of judges, I had a lot of hope in that system. The Superior Court, when I got there, it was kind of like, it was just like a game. It's like they didn't even respect what I was saying. They continue to say, well, you should have went to the mental health evaluation. You should have, you should have, did they get a guardian ad litem in your case? You need a guardian ad litem, and completely disregarded the fact that the judge had committed numerous crimes against me and my daughter. The judge then writes in her order, at the end of trial on March 12th, I told the judge, I said, listen, my daughter is on my witness list, I'm still waiting for you to rule as to whether she could come in and testify. This is the last day of trial. Is she going to be able to take the stand? I mean, she's autistic, but, she can express herself in the way that she knows how, and anybody that's around her just for a few minutes can see really just how smart she is. She might not respond like a typical child and speak like a typical child, but she does have a voice and she does know how to express herself. And so the judge says, I'm still going to weigh that, and I know you said that'd be valuable for her to come in, and I said yes. I said, when the abuse stopped, I was referring to 2020 in December, when the previous judge put the order out to, protect her from her aunt who was babysitting her, and an adult who was babysitting her, who's not allowed around her unsupervised. So I explained to the judge, I said, when the abuse stopped, my daughter wouldn't have meltdowns anymore, but she still did not want to go home. So I think that if she comes to court, she could show you that she prefers to stay with dad. And in the order, the judge wrote, Dad says the abuse stopped. How would he know the abuse stopped? That's only something he, the perpetrator, would know. Accusing me of sexually abusing my daughter. If this goes unchallenged, the restrictions will be lifted off the person who actually abused my daughter and placed onto me. I've been advocating for my daughter and fighting for my daughter since 2016. So she followed that up with, it's suspicious that me and my daughter go for couples massages, even though that's a therapy that I chose for my daughter because she's autistic and it helps. Another thing she said is, it's strange that I remember the exact day of my daughter's menstrual cycle. She just went down a whole list of things, and it's just nonstop, like lie. There's like complete lies, just false narratives, just all this stuff to make me look like I'm abusing my child. And the evidence tells a completely different story. And so I'm going to finish this up because I don't want to go over 10 minutes. So right now I'm, paying, I got another supervised visitor. Second time that I seen my daughter in 11 months was last month on Valentine's Day, February 14th. I have to pay, I can still see her between 1 and 4 hours per week, and I have to pay $50 an hour. I am a victim of the family court, and I demand an investigation. It's too hard to sum up everything into 10 minutes. If I was to speak my whole case, it would take an hour and 50 minutes. One of the most important details I left out is as I told you, I do have a pending lawsuit against CYS. Right after I filed my lawsuit in 2021, the director of CYS, she was the director from 2016 to 2021. A month after I filed my lawsuit, she was arrested for endangering hundreds of children. I then find out, after I'm wondering, like, why is this judge doing this to me? This is going far beyond, just showing bias. I find out that the judge is the founder of a nonprofit that promotes adoption that works directly with CYS. The judge took the bench in 2022, but from 2016 up until 2022, the nonprofit had a revenue of $1.6 million. If her false narratives and lies go unchallenged, the restrictions placed on my daughter to protect her from a sexual abuser could actually be lifted and then placed on me, the person who's been protecting and advocating for her.